everybody, and welcome to Bnow Coffee with my friend Jeannie.
Good morning, Cindy.
We're still relishing the vibe of our retreat, which was so amazing. We made new friends, said hello to old friends, and Jeannie did a wonderful job.
Well, you did too. You brought music, you kept us rolling. And truly, we work together like a well-oiled machine. So that's the truth, and thank God we stay in our lanes, and occasionally we pull up to the same, stoplight and the green light and we're like, hi. So that's good. But
yes, we do. So we're going to talk today about just being tired. Jeannie, you start us off.
Okay. Well, you and I have been really since the first of this year going like a wildfire about different things. You and your husband decided to, vacate your house, move to Florida to be with your kids. And then, less than a month ago, the whole hurricane hit in Florida, exactly where you all were. Thank you, Jesus. You all were fine. All of your kids and grandkids. That's great. But my husband and I had decided that we were going to sell our house. We've been talking about it for 2 years. And finally, I just put it on a community board. I got, like 40 replies. We had people come. But, every time when you're not using a real estate agent, and even if you are, but I mean, people just come. And I was just killing myself to make sure that everything was clean. The yards were mowed. Joe would do, the pool and all of that jazz. So it was a lot. And so we do have a buyer. And we had this big Bnow women's retreat with cabins and right on the river, and people were having a lot of fun. We had a lot of music, your music, banjo, all kinds of things. And I was telling you, this is funny because I have a Fitbit, which is kind of hilarious, but because I don't do it intentionally. But on the morning of the loadout, I had brought a lot of stuff. Yeah. And so you and your husband were on the road. You were leaving immediately after that to go to San Angelo and see your house and all of that. So anyhow, at noon, my Fitbit, was like buzzing. I looked down and went, what? And it said, congratulations, you've won your very first Urban Boots badge. I was like, what is that? And it said, you have walked or logged 15,000 steps in one morning. I was like, seriously? And so I told my husband, I said, don't get used to it because this is like the first week only. I'm not doing it. But, I realized like the next week after that, we had to go to, College Station for a big 25th anniversary. We were put up and at this gorgeous place, and, our friends took care of everything, but we've been working. The new owner of this house, we're leasing back from her until the end of November. And so she's been very gracious and, has wanted to come in and, bring people in to, give quotes on things that she wants to make, which is fine. And she's coming in this Friday for someone with floors, which means I got to fly into action and really get all the floors really cleaned again. But I'm not complaining, Cindy. I'm just saying that for the past 2 nights, I have slept solidly for 8 hours. And then yesterday, I took a 2.5-hour nap, which never happens. And so I was discussing this with Joe, and he said, are you sick? And I went, no, I'm tired. I'm just tired. And then my sister was like, well, those are all good things. I was enumerating, and I said, and this is what I want us to talk about with our audience this morning, Cindy, is on the top, like 7 stressors of your life. Even supposedly good things are very stressful, like getting married or having a baby or getting a new job or moving to another house or any of these things. They are good, but they are stressful. And stress, it's like our stress just taps us on the shoulder and says, hello, what about me? What have I done to you? So I realize that a lot of people are going through, and then you add to it all the stress in the world and all the fear mongering and all of the stuff. So, I just wanted to discuss the fact that it is not unusual for us to feel stressed, and not just women, men too, and kids too. So, what have you experienced? Because you've been, riding the roller coaster of, we have a buyer, we don't have a buyer, we have someone who wants to lease our house, but how does that show up in your life and your body?
What I do is a simple exercise when I feel stressed. I turn it over to God, and then I walk outside and I see in humongous letters, trust. We got this. We got this. Everything is working in your best interest. Yes. And when I do that, I have peace, because yes, we've been taking care of 2 households at the same time on a retired budget, which isn't comfortable. Watching your savings account go this way when you're used to going this way. And so that's been concerning. But when I do that trust and turn it over, it always turns out well. And a good example of that, yesterday I went to my son so I could visit the kids, and we had just gotten home from a 3-week road trip. So we started with the retreat and went all through Texas, and then ended up in Atlanta, Georgia, and then came home to Florida. And my son has been trying to get a fence up. He just bought a brand new home, built it, and it needed a fence because he has 2 little toddlers, and there's no fence. Plus there's a big pond reservoir behind their house. So it's been stressful for them, just always trying to keep their eye, make sure the kids, because the 3-year-old can open the door now, all of that. So yesterday the fence was going up, and it probably will be finished today. All they lack is the gate. Well, he was so frustrated because he's been trying to get the HOA to approve the fence, because here in Florida, most of the newer communities have HOA, so you have to follow the law of the community. And so his wife, Vanessa, looked at me and she said, we were talking about exactly this, timing, God's timing. If that fence had gone up, because part of it is like the plastic kind of fence, those really nice ones. The rest is bars, but she said we could have lost half the fence.
Because of the hurricane.
Because of the hurricane. And they're in Sarasota. They did lose a lot of the shingles on their roof, on their brand new roof. Yeah, exactly. So they lost shingles, but they didn't lose any fence because it wasn't up yet. So she said, so it was really better, even though we were so frustrated for all these months trying to get that fence approved so we could get it up so we don't have to worry about the kids outside. She said we could have easily lost it.
There was a better plan.
And that's the thing to remember. There's always a better plan, because God will give you whatever you ask for or something better. And we don't know it on this side. So yes, it's been since June, since we left San Angelo, put our house up for sale, got ridiculous offers, really ridiculously low offers. I don't want to get my neighbors mad at me and bring down the value of the neighborhood, because it's a very nice neighborhood, as you know. And then we decided, okay, maybe we're not supposed to let go of the house. Maybe there's a reason we're supposed to hold on to the house. So for the last 2 weeks, we've had it up for lease. And we do have a bite on it today. So please say the prayers for the bite for today. And so that's what I do, Jeannie, because I need to have that peace. I need to feel the peace. And I need to also remember that we are never alone. We're not alone. We have angels and spirit guides and all. You can't see the army that is surrounding you all the time, that loves you so much, whispering in your ear, we've got this. You know, we've shown up before. And when you don't get what you want, you know, it always turns out better than what you even expected.
So I want to interject something, which is true. It is also many times we change our minds in middle stream.
Yes.
We know what we want. And then we look at that and we go, that little nasty voice goes, how's that going to happen? That's never going to happen. And so we erase it and we put up what our fears are. Well, I can't have this and that. I've never had, whatever.
Right.
So this is very interesting. My husband, I love him so much. And he is, if you look up spreadsheet in the dictionary, his picture is there. That's his deal. He loves it. I'd rather take a beating. We're perfect together. But, when we built our one, it's what we are. It's true. But we're moving into our former winery. We were never able to sell it in 7 years.
Right.
We kept trying to sell it and people would do stupid things and we were like, no. And finally, I just looked at him and I said, the reason we can't sell it is because it's ours. And we poured our love into it.
Yes.
And it's glorious and beautiful and stuff like that.
It is a beautiful building.
It is.
Beautiful building.
It is. And it's going to be even more beautiful, but we're changing the whole vibe. But, my husband always looks at the bottom line, which is fine. But I picked out, I didn't pick out the most high dollar cabinets or appliances. I mean, they're nice. But the one thing I would not compromise on is quartz countertops. And we're going to have this big island, Cindy, that's over 8 feet tall. 8 feet long and 5 feet wide. Okay. So it's going to be a seating area. And it's expensive, but it's indestructible. It pulls it all together. It just pulls it all together. So, he almost had a stroke when he saw how much it was. And my first instinct was, is this a hill I want to die on? And he was like, what about Formica? And I said, what about Formica? No.
Formica.
I know. He said, well, we have Formica in our kitchen here. And I went, no, we don't. We have granite. And, because we bought this house 11 years ago and we have dark green granite. And he was like, I don't think so. I was like, okay. So he came out and he was like, bopping on it. And he went, oh, I guess you're right. And I was like, I'm coming, Elizabeth. This is a big one.
What is that? What is up with that? Where they have to touch it and feel it after you say something.
Yeah.
They have to touch and feel or hear or use one of their 5 or.
I'd be lying about it.
Exactly. What is it? What is up with that?
I don't know. I don't know. But anyhow,
yeah.
So, I was just really discouraged about this because it's a lot of money. But you know what? This is our last home and it has to present well. It just has to. And I said, the kitchen is now going to be where our bars were. And I said, so when you walk in, you have to see that. And that's it. And I told him, I said, the kitchen for me is the heart of our home, which that. And, I don't worry about the bedroom and the living room and all of that's going to be nice, but no, it has to be this. So instead of getting into my story, because I'm really good about telling stories about, well, Scrooge McDuck doesn't want to buy it. No. I was like, no, I can't do that. Especially if it's funny, and, but I just started doing the Neville Goddard technique. And he was this man, wonderful man from Barbados who lived in New York City last century. And he was so wise. And he talks about being taught by this Ethiopian rabbi, this Black guy, who said, you are there now. Whatever it is that you want, put yourself there now. Don't, and don't settle for anything less. So I just started saying in my mind, I see all of this beauty here. And I'm so grateful. And I'm so grateful. Well, anyhow, and I'm not going to go into this whole story because it just wears you out, but it is, a whole series of things happened where he was ready to buy something else that was like for something else. And I went, okay. And so I decided to support him in that. And, I just told him, I said, Joe, I really think this is the way to go with this. And to my astonishment, why am I astonished, Cindy? He came back and he said, okay, if I sign off on this, will we do? And I was like, sure. So, coming back to why are we tired? I think many times we're tired because we're just trying to push a rock uphill. We're just trying to make something happen. We are, and physically, I've been doing a lot. I've been packing like crazy. I took, all kinds of stuff over to the community closet and, packing boxes and scrubbing shelves and stuff. And I thought, okay, there is a real expenditure of physicality, but a lot of it's up here. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes. Yes. When we say that we're tired well, that I'm usually in creative mode.
Yes.
About 85% of my life stays in creative mode.
Right.
And when I'm in creative mode, I don't get tired because for me, that's exhilaration.
Mm-hmm.
And also when you think about it, whenever you're in creative mode, and of course, I write music and books and stories, that type of thing. But a lot of people will say, "Oh, I have no talents." Did you pick out a bedspread for your bedroom? Do you make a spaghetti sauce like no one else? Do you have a garden? Because everybody has creative abilities, or we do it naturally anyway. Mm-hmm. So right now you're in creative mode. Mm-hmm. And that's an exciting place to be, because when you're in creative mode, you're doing what God does, God creator. And that's the only thing that makes us different than any other living thing on this planet. Human beings create. That's what we do. You look around your room, like these guitars, my piano, these all came from human thought. They all blossomed from human thought. So for me, when I'm in creative mode, I don't get tired. When I get tired is when I get into taking care of the grandkids.
Yeah, well, that's a big responsibility.
Right.
Yeah.
When I do that, or when I'm trying to help somebody who will not listen to me, that is so frustrating. And so ultimately, Jeannie, when I get into those places of frustration, which I have been in so many times in my life, so many times, I learned a long time ago, if I just turn it over, that let go and let God thing, the first thing I get is peace. The second thing I get is results.
You said something that was so profound a little while ago when you were talking about God creating. God is the creator. And it occurred to, and then talking about us creating, it occurred to me at that moment, I've never had this thought before, but it was like, God never asks permission to create. Think about that. Let there be light. Let there be, a change in the firmament, the day and the night. Let there be this, let there be that. There's no asking for permission. And I that just blew my mind just now, just going, yeah, it's not that we don't work in concert with other people. We do. But asking for permission, can I be creative? Can I do this? And we know people who have husbands or wives that just put the screws down on them, or families or whatever, that won't allow them to do what it is that they want. And that in itself is exhausting.
Oh, well, we're so fortunate to live in America.
Yes.
Because in there's other countries in the world, as we know, especially the communist countries, where they don't allow creativity.
No.
They destroy music instruments because they know how powerful music is. They know how powerful we are when we are in a creative mode. And right now, I think what we need to focus on, all of humanity, is create a peaceful world. So what are you doing today to create a peaceful world? Because
Yes.
we can have that if we all get in sync together.
Yes.
We can have a peaceful world, but we need to all want it. And there's so many people out there that are lost and negative, and they want to pour their nasty, on social media. You put something beautiful up and they go, that kind of thing. So we have to also exercise our power of forgiveness, because forgiveness makes you like God. It's our God self forgives, our God self creates, our God self loves. Those are the three biggest things. And when you can forgive somebody for being so ugly to you and love them anyway, like Jesus talked about, that's not easy. In fact, it's pretty much impossible with your ego self. But with your spiritual self, you go, oh yeah, they're just going through their journey. It's their journey. I wish I'm not going to participate in their journey. I have my own journey, and they're not invited in my journey anymore.
I saw a meme this morning, and it showed the Tin Man of Wizard of Oz. When I was a little kid watching the Wizard of Oz, I was wondering how anybody could talk without a brain. And he said, then I got on Facebook. Yeah.
Or a heart.
If I only had a brain. Anyhow, covered a lot of ground this morning. Thank you so much, Cindy. And people, please share this. Please share these coffee chats with your friends and your family. Let us hear from you. Give us some feedback. And if there's any topic that you would love to have us discuss, we're up for it. So
we are.
Yeah. Thank you again, my friend.
I love you, Jeannie.
I love you too. Mwah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
There.